Hi and welcome. My name is Deb Szabo, and tonight I am talking about content planning and creating content that connects. Okay, so this week I am launching my Content Catalyst membership, and I wanted to run through with you some of the things that we're going to jump into. So, first of all, let's have a look at what is content planning. So, I think this is the biggest thing when we look at. Um, Being able to create content that connects, because often that we are making blogs, doing social media, creating podcasts, and we're not resonating with our audience, and it can take a lot of time and it can be really, really frustrating when you look at the insights or the metrics and you go, my open rate was really low, how do I improve this, essentially? So I always start with that marketing isn't a destination, it is a constantly evolving process. And especially at the moment with tech and AI moving at lightning pace, I literally learn every day about what is happening out in the marketplace. Now, I've been doing marketing for like 30 years, and by no means am I outdated in any way. Because of that, I have to stay up to date with all the things that is happening now. I mean, how we used to communicate is very different to even a year ago. So, what I do want to do is have a look at what does it look like to get your content planned. So, we're going to look at a strategy, we're going to look at planning, and we're going to look at scheduling as well. So let's look at the content formats that you can utilize in your content marketing. So you've got videos, podcasts, emails, so you like your newsletter to your mailing list, blogs, articles, social media. If you've created collateral, such as little booklets and things like that, that's all content marketing. So if we look at what is essentially having a content marketing strategy look like, and what does it actually do, more to the point? So it starts with brand awareness. And I think that this is a really important thing to touch on. Is brand awareness is all about staying top of mind, because not everybody is wanting what you do all the time. And often people will literally circle in your realm for, like, 2 years before they actually buy something. Can I think of myself when I've actually followed somebody for quite a long time? And then when I'm actually in the market, I'm like, yes, I'm going to go to them. So that's what brand awareness does. It's keeping you top of mind. Now, I bring this up as well because if the people around you, such as your friends, your family, your inner circle, know what you do, and you'd be surprised at how many people around you that don't. If they know about what you do and how you do it, they're going to also refer you. And we know word of mouth is such a powerful thing. So that's why brand awareness is like at the top there. So when we have brand awareness, and we get brand awareness by showing up consistently. Now, what we want is, rather than when we advertise, it literally is selling your product. But what we want to do is create conversation. We want to create connection. And how we do that is by helping people with their needs and their challenges and their problems. So, to do that, if you share content marketing is about giving them some sort of valuable, inspiring, or educating information. Now, what that then does is go down to increases your engagement. So your engagement then is when people start to interact. This is where you have your community. Now, I talk to a lot of people that they want to say, I want to increase my followers. I've only got, 300 Instagram followers. And it's like, before you start getting new followers, start talking to the existing people that you already have. And, like, consistently showing up does take effort. And this is why I've put Content Catalyst together, is because I want to support people in prioritizing and allocating time to get it done. So once we do have that customer engagement, and they might never have actually ever purchased from you, but they're in your circle. Okay, so that's when increased loyalty. They may not have bought from you, but if there's a Facebook post going, who does this or who can help with this, you're the first person that they recommend. So even if they're not a direct customer, they can be a very indirect referral for you, and that's where that loyalty comes in. So then if we look at generating leads, this is the opportunity that you have, is by being top of mind, is by, showing people what you do. This is what generates leads. And how we do that is by making it easy for people to find you. So we want to drive website traffic. That is the end goal, because that is our shop front. Unless, even if you have a physical shop front, we want people have to find you to go to your shop, unless of course they're walking past. But essentially your website is your shop front. This is where they're actually going to buy from you. And this is where we have that opportunity to complete that conversion phase. So how do we do that? Content marketing is more than, like I said, about putting out, an Instagram post, every other day using, a Canva tile. And this is, I guess, the formula that I use. And this is about creating that hero piece of content each week. Now, I plan out what I'm going to do for the month. I know what the ideas are with my content, and then I will write out an outline of my hero piece of content. I will then create long form content, and this is a very different strategy to what I had last year. And the reason for that was because it aligned with my goals. So this year it's all about building my long form content and knowing what's coming, especially with Google. This is so much more important now than ever. Okay, so long form content. I start with creating my podcast, but my podcast, I actually record it and I post that on YouTube. I then come over from YouTube. I then have that goes out on my podcast. So then I've got Spotify. Google is now hosting podcasts. Sorry, YouTube is now instead of Google. And there's all the different platforms. So then you've got LinkedIn, and then you've also got Pinterest. So these are all forms of long form content. So you can, share your booklets and things and your templates and resources here on Pinterest, and they stay around. So long form content is something that stays around for a long time. Like when people are looking up things on YouTube, have a look at the date of when it was published, because it could be 3 years ago and it's still relevant. So if you're earning money off AdSense, then you can actually still get money from 3 years ago. Okay, so then we're going to use all this. So we're going to write our blog using the outline of our hero piece of content, and then we're going to go down and create our short form content. So that looks like making snippets of your video here, and we're going to then share it on our social media platforms. And you can see here we've got Instagram, YouTube again, YouTube Shorts is big, and then Facebook, TikTok. Now, the biggest thing with this, of course, is having that call to action, having that direction back to the website. What are they going to do? Where do you want them to go? So the thing about content marketing is about inspiring and educating, and we show rather than tell. So without being salesy, I guess that's the biggest thing, is when you explain what you do, then you never have to sell. And that's where I think the power is, providing that hero piece of content, which is helping people each week. I certainly have definitely noticed a difference with myself in my content, even though I've added in a podcast now. I thought it'd be harder, but it's actually easier now that I've done that. So I want to give you an example of content marketing done right. So if you've seen on Netflix Home Edit, these two ladies here, they're best-selling authors. They've got a show on Netflix. Their products are actually sold all around the world, and they're worth multi-million dollars. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this is because how they got started was through an Instagram post. That essentially is what kicked them off. But they weren't just going, here, buy our thing. What they were doing is showing people the before and after of what they do. And what they did is they got the celebrity ended up being Christina Applegate, who they approached and did over a makeover in her house, and in return for an Instagram post. But this led to them showing up that before and after. And it was actually Reese Witherspoon that got them onto Netflix through her Sunshine Group. So this is an incredible story, and I'm not saying this is going to happen to you, but this is where content marketing is done right. So what they did in this is really powerful, and I want to take you through this process. So how do we create impactful content? I have a method called a Vivid method, and this is where visualize the need. We show the impact and the consequence when they work with you. We show the value. We demonstrate what you offer. So this is your solution. We show we show when you implement your solution, we show that transformation. So it's the before and after, which is what the Home Edit girls did really, really well. And then we show the result and that desire. More importantly, their call to action was what made it easy for them to buy. So I talk about the vivid story. So the vivid story is exactly the exercise that I do with clients that we take through. So it's one thing to know your avatar of who you're speaking to. So you've got to understand who your ideal audience is. And then when you do that, then we go through a process of creating your ideal person. And then we run through what are their pain points, what are their needs, and then literally it's you putting yourself in their shoes. How do they feel? How do they think? Now, when you do that, this is when we go into what is the impact that this person is going to get when they understand the transition here. So if they don't take action, this is probably the biggest thing, is when they don't take action, what happens? The value is obviously what you provide. And then when we transform, when they implement, this is when it changes their life. So let's look at that in a little bit more detail. So let's look at the girls in Home Edit. So visualize, they can't find clothes, you feel shame, you've got clothes that don't suit you, you've got a messy wardrobe essentially. So the impact is you've got a cluttered mind, you feel stressed, you feel shamed. And then the next part of it is the value. So the value is that your solution is you're a home organizer, you've got tidy home solutions, and you help people organize their homes. So how you implement it is they go from messy to tidy. They go from overwhelmed to organized. And then we look at the desire. So they can see what they can, wear. They don't feel embarrassed having anyone in their bedroom, in their wardrobe, and they've got a clear head. So if we look at that, then they have call to action. So their call to actions is heading down to buy their books. It's buying their products. So how do we do that? We need a strategy, we need a plan, and we need a schedule when we're creating content. And one of the biggest things that I see in group messages at the moment is how do you repurpose content? And we repurpose content by distributing it in a matter of, I guess, a workflow that works for you as well. So when we do have what we do and how we do it, this is where we evoke that thought leadership, the influence, your reputation. And we do that through storytelling and adding value. So this is exactly what the Home Edit girls did. Now, I'll go back to that for a second because I think it's really important that posting up on Instagram with a Canva tile is not going to develop your authority. It's not going to make influence. It will support that. And this is why I guess I'm really passionate about video, is because this is what is going to help you. So everything needs to work together. So you're going to have your hero piece of content that's long form on video, on audio, and then you're also going to then distribute that through written content, through getting published. So it's more than just putting up a tile. When we have a strategy, we know our goals, we know who we're talking to, we know our audience, we know our pain points, we know that vivid story of our ideal customer, and that is the most important thing. Our goals is really our expectation. If you're going to put all that effort in, we've got to measure it, and we need metrics to measure it so we know what we're doing, what's working. So you do more of that essentially. Okay, we're going to look at your online presence. When was the last time you did an audit? That's really interesting. I know, I do it on myself. Google yourself. Just Google yourself and see what comes up. I think that's a really interesting exercise. Then you can identify opportunities. Where are my holes? For me, my opportunity was launching my podcast, because my workflow completely changed from there when I actually did that. Because if I'm going to spend 20 minutes talking, well, of course I'm going to record a video of it. So I ended up expanding my my reach and engagement with that as well. Connecting with your current audience. I really emphasize that enough. If people that you already have in your circle is communicating with them and inspiring them. And then you can look at your potential audience. So then we want to look at what's our plan. Our plan is we need to look at optimizing our platforms that we are already using and any potential new ones. We want to get a content management system up and running. And that comes down to how you capture content to connect with your audience and then repurpose it as well. And I think that's a really big thing, is how to repurpose content. And that's by building a content library. I have my phone here, and I have so much content on my phone, and I will literally come in here and I will pull out content, and this content here will be about, that I can push out a reel really quickly. Okay, so let's look at that workflow now. So we look at our theme, we make our long form content, and that's our visual, so video, audio, written content. Then we break it down into short form content, and then we always include a call to action. Now, if you've been creating blogs and you don't have call to actions on your blogs, then I encourage you to go back onto your blogs, any content that you have, and create a call to action in there. The other thing, as I was mentioning, is about creating an avatar. So let's look at if you had a skincare range and you wanted to target somebody with, your skincare. It's not just about going here, buy the product, buy the product. What we want to do is identify who's our audience. So in this person, we've got this avatar here. We'll just let me go back. And we're going to create a profile of this person. Now, when you get asked who's your, audience, you go everybody. Let's break it down to just one person. When we speak to just one person, then we can really narrow in as to who you're helping, as opposed to everyone. When you help everyone, you help no one. So this is the first exercise that you can do. Now, I actually have a template that if you go to my website, debszabo.com/content, you can actually get a copy of this and put in your image, break down the information. The more information you go into to create an avatar, the more that you will be able to delve into what motivates that person, their lifestyle, their habits. And when you uncover that, then you will really, really get to know how you can help them. So you're going to look at their age, you're going to look at where they live, you're going to look at what they do for a job, what's their income, what's their marital status, their family life. All of these have a great impact on how we buy as consumers. We're going to look at where do they get their information from. We're going to look at what are their goals, what are their interests, and more importantly, what are their problems and challenges. And then when we understand that, that is when we can start to help them. And we do that by this vivid story. So this is where I start with working with just 10, work on 10. So start listing down what are the 10 problems that this person has and visualize them. How are they feeling? What are they thinking? What are they doing when they do that? And then we break it down as what's the impact? What's the consequence that if they don't work with you, what's the consequence of that? And then we look at your solution. And then we look at when they take action, so that transformation and that desire. Now, both of these things I have in a template, and they're done as a Google Doc, so you can literally use that template by just putting the information in. You don't need to print out anything, and it's all there ready to go. So easy. Okay, so then we want to look at our content categories. Now, when if you've ever, I guess, looked at the last, few years of content planning, people say that your content pillars in your business are create education, entertainment, behind the scenes, all of those things. That's an approach. That is not your content bucket, your content categories. That is tailored for your business and your ideal person's problems or needs. Okay, so when we look at this, so we're going to use that makeover in the with Home Edit. So we're going to look at Mondays, we're going to be sharing organization tips and hacks. Tuesdays, we're going to look at room makeovers. Wednesdays, we're going to look at product reviews and recommendations. Thursday is before and after. Everyone loves a before and after. Friday, we're going to share lifestyle information. And then Saturday, Sunday is all about do your own DIY projects, part one, part two, do tutorials, tips, and things like that. Okay, so that's an example of a content category. So when you start to do that, so then you go room makeovers. So then you'll start listing what type of room. You might do bathroom makeovers one Tuesday. The next one is kitchen makeovers, dining room makeovers, bedroom makeovers, study makeovers. So this is where when you start to break all these content categories down, you will never run out of ideas. Okay, so this is the next step that we do. Then we look at our approach. How do we tell that story? Are we telling it from a personal, point of view? Are we sharing tips and tutorials? Are we sharing our routine or systems of how we do something or mistakes? Notice what mistakes people are making, and they are really effective as well. So they're our approach on how we tell. So Content Catalyst is a membership, and this is a month by month membership that what we do, and I put this up here because this is what we're tackling for the rest of the year. Okay. Next Monday, we're making a game plan. So we are going to create your ideal audience, and we're going to create your vivid story so that you create content that connects. And this is really important because once you have this is your framework, this is your foundation. Okay. So that foundation is set up here on Monday. So masterclass we do once a month. So this is the masterclass. Then the following week we do a workroom. So you actually take action and implement this, because as I've shown you this, you're probably sitting there going, I am never going to get around to doing this. And that is exactly why we have workrooms. So you physically get in there and action those things. And they're on the following week of the masterclass. Then we have an video editing session workroom the following week from that. And the reason why I do that is because you want to develop your authority, your reputation. You need to be showing up online using video, and that's it in a nutshell, I guess. So if you want to do that, and that's why I've added in that editing workroom. So the next month is all about setting up your studio and your gear guide. Now, I'm going to give you an example of the difference of when you don't have it set up to when you have it set up. Last week, I was down in Sydney and I didn't have any of my gear, and I had to make a sales video for my sales page. Okay, so it was a video explaining all about Content Catalyst. Now, it took me 7 goes to do it. And I was stopping and starting for different tech reasons that I'm not even going to go into now. But all you need to know is literally the video was terrible. It was terrible. And I got to the stage where I'm like, I've just got to put something out. I have to. So tonight I was able to come in and I was able to re-record that same video, and it was like I nailed it. It was so easy because I had my studio set up, I had my gear set up, I had my equipment set up, and I didn't face the same challenges as last year. Now tomorrow I'm going to have that video set up so you can actually go on now, watch that sales video on Content Catalyst page, watch it now. Okay, if you've received an email from me, go and watch that email. And then by tomorrow, it's going to be a very different version. And the reason why is because the other one was bad. And that just comes down to the why you need to have your office studio set up. It's about having your workspace set up so you can record easily. And tech is one of the biggest things that I know slows people down. All right, so then June, we're going to talk about personal branding. So this is about building your reputation and your authority. How do we do that? By talking on camera and storytelling. So we're going to dive into that. Then we're going to look at building your content library, and we're going to look at how we create content so you can build it. So we're going to look at video. We're going to look at repurposing your content. By August, I'm going to go through a whole audit on your socials. September, we're going to look at launch content. October, now I am going to cover YouTube up here in some mini sessions because YouTube is really important for you to get set up, but I am going to do some deep dives into YouTube down the track. And as I mentioned before, there's big changes coming with SEO. It's going to be GEO. Okay, so we're going to update you on that. Then we're going to look at your website and then, of course, planning. So that is what is in store for Content Catalyst. We're going to look at your plan. We're going to look at your topics, as I mentioned, your content categories. We're going to look at ways to make your long form content into short content and how to distribute that and how to capture it as well. So this is everything we're going to cover. We're going to look at what are the right platforms for you as well. This is also another thing. How do we distribute your long form and your short form content based on your ideal audience? Remember that. And then we're going to look at how we distribute that. Are we going to use schedulers? We're going to use streaming services. We're going to look at programs that help us chop down information as well. Then we're going to look at how we organize our content and, of course, on your computer, but also on your phone. And so Content Catalyst, that wraps it up. You get a monthly masterclass on our topic, as I just showed you. And that is on the second Monday of the month. We do it at 12:30 and allocate Mondays for marketing, okay? Because if we don't allocate time, it ain't ever getting done. Then the following week, we go into our action room, and then this is where we implement what we learnt. And then the following week, we do your editing workroom. So everything follows everything in a sequential order. Content Catalyst, you will also get tech support and you'll also get accountability option as well. So there is an opportunity for you to work one-on-one with me, because at the end of the day, you will make so much faster progress. And I've only got 8 spots left of the one-to-one sessions available as well. So that's Content Catalyst. Go onto my website, debszabo.com, and you'll be able to see all the information in there. And I look forward to seeing you on the inside of Content Catalyst. I am so excited about this marketing hub, because that's what I want it to be, is a go-to marketing hub where you actually learn, but we implement and take action, and that's how we get results. So if you've got any questions, send me a DM, send me a message, or jump onto my website and I will happily answer any questions. And yeah, jump onto Content Catalyst. I'll see you soon.